Just to make it 28-3. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25. Toss to White. He's in! What a comeback!
All right, welcome to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. Today we're going to go with a different format for the review episode. I think we're going to keep it nice and short and sweet, just like we do with the preview episode. We'll go about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll go round table. Everyone kind of give their thoughts on the game. And, keep it nice and clean.
Yeah, and then if we have anything world-changing and life-changing to riff about after that, we can feel free to do it after.
Yeah, and we're going to have 3 episodes during the season. We'll do the
Yeah.
review episode. Hopefully we'll get that one out on Tuesday, depending on the big guy's schedule over here.
That's right. The producer, you can't see him. He's off screen.
Yeah.
Whenever that guy, you get it out Tuesday? Yep, great. Okay, cool.
And then we'll do a longer episode probably Wednesday where we can kind of just go off on our tangents like we like to do.
Yep.
And then we'll do the preview episode, probably go out on a Friday.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Corey, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so we talked about the Rams game after that loss and said that was one of the more painful Saints games to watch. I don't think that this one fell much further outside of that category. It just so happened that the game ended in a win for the Saints. You know, Darren Rizzi was just that excited about going back home to New Jersey. You could see it when he was chewing out hay ball. He was like, I'm back home. I'm in front of my family, and you ruined it for me. You were embarrassing me. That's what he was saying. You know, I mean, those New Jersey natives, Italians, they're very prideful, right? So Rizzi clearly had something to coach for in this game, and the team, honestly, again, I hate ever questioning effort from NFL pro players, but it just seemed like we were going through the motions yet again. The most disappointing thing for me was the apparent lack of what's supposed to be our best offensive line not being able to get anything done in the run game against a defensive line that was coming in with some injuries. Their team captain is not there, not playing. They had they were down a linebacker. It's set up for our O-line to do whatever the hell they wanted to a demoralized, banged-up squad, and they did the opposite. Carr was under duress even. And so, do you chalk that up to them being back together for the first time? They got to learn how to play together for a couple of weeks. I mean, I don't know. It certainly looked like they knew how to play together in week 1, but then again, that was the Panthers. But then again, the Panthers also have a good front. So I don't know what was up with the offensive line. Hopefully,
well, they haven't played together all year either. That's just part of it, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if it was just a continuity thing, that's fine. But that was the most disappointing thing from the game for me. I think Carr had another one of those games where he didn't light anything up, but I thought he played within the offense, except for the one pick. You could say maybe he shouldn't have thrown the ball. Clearly, he thought he had, I think it was Austin down the field, and the DB got in the way. I call it a bad pass. Nick, we can debate on that later, I'm sure.
No, it wasn't a good pass. I just think it was called, and they were throwing it regardless. So
yeah,
it was definitely wasn't a good pass. It was underthrown.
But to me, that was like an isolated instance of
it was effectively
something
a punt
negative.
on 3rd and 12.
There wasn't a whole lot of complete negativity from the offense except for the offensive line play. Bright spots, Kendrick Miller, of course. The stat sheet wouldn't show it, but the way that guy ran, he ran strong. He had that second effort. Rarely did the first guy that got to him bring him down. And, of course, the touchdown run was just, beast mode, strong run.
By the way, congratulations for nailing your first Corey's lock of the week.
That little thing?
Yeah. 1
1
and 6.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're 1 and 6
Yeah, I wasn't
now.
going to toot my own horn, but we got a lock.
Yeah, and I'd like to say I went ahead and won $300 on that lock, so good job.
Yeah.
You're one of the only people the Saints have a better record than.
Yeah. This is true.
No, but he's off the hook, and that was a good one. I think that one was going off at like what? Matt, you bet it, Max plus 250 or something.
Yeah.
That's pretty good odds.
So that's a pretty good pull for the lock. So you earned that one. 1 and 6.
And
and just so everyone that's watching and listening knows, so the chain that has the lock on it. You want to go ahead and show this off to the audience? There we go. So right now it's pretty heavy as is, Corey says, but there's one lock on there. So this one we gave him for free, so he has to earn the other ones. So as Corey successfully picks locks,
Well, he earned it. Now he's got.
he's earned the first one. I guess we gave it to you ahead of time.
Well,
But as we go forward, and you get another
You weren't
one,
going to have
you
it
get
just
another
wearing
lock.
a plain chain. I mean, I guess you could have, but yeah. So this is the earned lock. Before it was a for show lock, but now we got an earned lock, a EL,
Yeah.
if
Week
you will.
14, we got it.
We got an EL, and we're looking for more ELs.
There we go.
Earned
And we'll
locks.
add more locks to that chain as we go, hopefully.
We will
I
The
like
one
it.
thing that to me,
lock that in.
response to what Corey's saying, the biggest thing to me, the offensive line, he's right. That was not a great performance. Carr was pressured constantly. The run game, even we're saying Kendry's the bright spot because he basically created all those yards. I mean,
Correct.
he was hit behind the line of scrimmage over and over and over again and managed to produce a few really good runs, in spite of that. But the special teams was an absolute disaster.
Train wreck. Yeah.
You're coming into a game, and we've talked about it a little bit. I think the game plan offensively, because we've kind of debated behind the scenes Kubiak and how he's doing. But the game plan when you're rolling out a skill group that we're rolling out right now makes all the sense in the world to me. We have to play a ball control, slower pace offense, not make mistakes, try and methodically win these games, and not give them away. And then we come out the gate. I think we had scored, right? Were we up 7-0 yet before the fake punt, or was it before we scored? Either way.
I don't recall.
You're on your own end. He calls a fake punt, doesn't get it. Now you've pinned us behind and we stayed pinned for 3 or 4 drives on an offense that we did have the 98-yard drive, which is incredible, but we had to work that much harder the whole first half because of that one play until we flipped it by scoring.
Right.
So that was a terrible play. Groupie misses the 53. Obviously, it's 53, but that's a 75% play now in the NFL. The 60, I give him a pass. That's 60 yards. That's a low percentage play, and it was at the end of the half. We'll just throw that one out. Punt return, completely lucked out with that hold. That was very marginal, and that dude wasn't making the play most likely.
Yeah. That was lucky for us.
Yeah, dodged that one. We had Kendre bobble a kick and come out, and we got pinned at the 15 because he was kind of on the opening kickoff, I believe.
That wasn't Kendra. That was
I thought it was
our
Kendra.
good friend Jamal Williams.
Oh, was it Jamal? Okay.
Yeah. Because I had literally I was about to throw my drink at the TV on the first fucking play of the game, seeing Jamal Williams returning kicks.
Yep. Hayball losing his lane on that return that got called back, luckily. A couple not so great punts by Hayball, too. It just was a absolutely catastrophic special teams game until the final play of the game, which was the biggest play of the game and the most incredible play of the game by Brazil, who to me was MVP of the game, and I think both of you agree.
Yep.
So to see that happen was discouraging because that's Rizzy's thing. The defense played pretty damn well almost the whole game. Not an elite opponent, let's be honest, but they held their own. There was no huge plays they gave up. They kept everything in front. They forced 40% completion from Locke. They only allow 11 points in the end. All in all, that's a good defensive performance. I'm not gonna slam anything they did. It was nothing spectacular, but you hold a team to 11 in the NFL, you did your job. Period.
Yeah.
Offense. Again, we kind of moved it here in spots, but you end up with only 14 points to show for it. Not enough. So just a boring game to watch. And I can't imagine a casual fan watching that game and wanting to be an NFL fan afterwards. It was rough.
Well, speaking of fans watching the game, before we go much further, I want to give a shout out to our man Zach, who was one of our 20-3 podcast Patreons, who I watched the game with. So he was in town from Orlando. It was fun catching up with him and watching most of the game together. That's if you want to catch him on Twitter at TrueQB TRUQB9. He's a good follow. He's a good dude. And it was funny watching the game with him because, when Kendra got it in, he's like, "You got your lock, bro. You got your lock." and we were both rooting for that. But we had the same opinion, though, on that punt return. We're like, whoa, they called that hold, then we got a break there.
Yeah.
We both said the same thing at the same time. And, it just – but anyway, I wanted to give Zach a shout out before we went much further.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I'll go ahead and echo Nick's opinion on that game was awful to watch. And I know Dan had his family in New York watching the game.
Yep.
I know Mike was there too. And I can't imagine he was telling us how his son is, he's all in now, had a great time at the game.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, but that was an awful game to kind of be
I was going to
his
say, being in his shoes and
If he's all in after that,
if
gonna
he's
really
all in
like-
after that, he's a true fan
we'll
now.
check
so.
at Procrastinatus on Twitter to see if he's got the updates. But if I'm in Dan's shoes, I'm like, I'm good with whatever is happening on the field because it's my son. It's his first game. He's having a fucking blast.
He got some autographs. He got he's
I mean, I'm in it for that angle. But if it was just me and I had traveled to that game, whether I'm traveling from New Orleans or traveling from London, and it's just me and some buddies at that game, I'm just like, all right, where are we going to dinner?
Yeah, it was painful to watch. You know, I kept we were all texting during the game, and it was just 2 weeks in a row. It's just been a god awful game to watch. Like, as Nick said, I can't imagine being a casual fan of the NFL and be flipping through the channels and you're like, oh, let's check out this game, the Giants and the Saints. This ought to be fun. And then you sit through that and it's just it was like watching grass grow. It was terrible.
And you also, you think back to the Dome Patrol days where, our offense wasn't lighting it up. It wasn't like the sexiest thing to watch, but that defense was so just rough and tumble. It was just fun to watch them annihilate guys.
Yeah.
That really wasn't happening as much. I mean, and because the one thing I'll say to Nick's assessment of the defense, I agree overall 11 points is 11 points in the NFL. You got to grit your teeth and take some pause when they let the Giants just kind of march right down the field when the Giants needed it.
Yeah.
That was the only thing negative I'll take away from the defense.
It also took like a crazy 4th and 10 play. And
it took a lot, but that was the only thing.
And it's the only drive.
The defense played well.
But overall, it was a tough watch.
I'm going to say this, though. Drew Lock should not be on an NFL roster. Like, he is Drew Lock is as bad as Saints Twitter would have you believe Derek Carr is.
Yes.
Like, he is awful. It was painful.
He won't be there, man. He'll be a backup.
He was like 0 for his first 9 passes or something. Like, it was terrible to watch.
I mean, it's like you could have literally plucked him from a USFL, UFL, whatever it's called.
Don't insult those guys, man. Some of those guys can.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could have plucked him from another, sub-professional football league and just dropped him in, and that's what you would have expected from player A out of the XFL, UFL, whatever.
I forgot about DeMario's pick.
Why did he not run with it?
I don't know.
No, he kind of did.
No, he didn't. He dropped down immediately and gave himself up.
Down. He gave himself up.
He gave himself up
sure.
immediately.
And to have that guy not understand the game situation to me is like it was kind of like if you watched Buffalo. Did y'all watch Buffalo last night?
And maybe he thought he got touched.
Yesterday
I don't know, but there was
nobody within 15 yards of him.
Just about to say nobody was around him.
He didn't think he got touched.
And they have 3 timeouts. He's such a smart player. Just couldn't believe
that's why I'm like, what?
You've got to go get in field goal range. Make this game really hard to But
I didn't know you could even willingly give yourself up. I thought someone still had to touch you.
It's been a rule for a few years. If you obviously give yourself up, the play's dead.
Yeah, like what is the threshold there between like?
He obviously gave himself up. He went and just dropped.
I know. The thing is,
he caught it. He was standing up, and he literally jumped.
My Saints fan bias wants to say like, well, what did he do really? But
I don't think he scores. Yeah. I don't think he scores if he just takes off.
But the field position.
But the field position could have mattered there.
Yeah.
A few runs. Who knows if he gets to their 35, whatever. We might have had a field goal chance out of it, making the game harder to win for the Giants.
Right.
And him being such a smart player,
it was shocking to see that happen.
Yeah, it was strange.
He only has a few interceptions in his career, so that was a big deal. That was a big deal for DeMario.
And he talked about too, like when he dropped one earlier this year, he's like, "Yeah, I had it right there, and it could have been my X number."
Yeah, and let me throw in a few more thoughts though. Carr played; he was solid. To you guys' point, or your point in particular, Nick, there's no talent at all in the field in the skill positions other than
real
Kamara.
Quick, what team in the NFL comes to mind right out the gate that is putting a worse skill position starting lineup out than the Saints right now? Not as a roster, just today. Which teams? Patriots, maybe?
The Raiders. There's Brock and nobody else.
Offensive skill
Brock's
position?
all pro though. Right,
and Kamara's Pro Bowl All Pro at this point. He's up there.
He's not All Pro. He's Pro Bowl for sure. You're not beating out Henry and Saquon for All Pro.
No, but he's up there is what I'm saying.
Brock Bowers is the best tight end in the league, and it's a pretty big gap this year. Not traditionally, but this year there's a massive gap.
Yeah.
But we're putting out Carr. They're putting out this trio of quarterbacks that is.
I'm talking just skill, not the quarterback.
Do you even know who the running back is?
It was Zaire, right?
Well,
Raiders. What's the old Georgia guy's name? Zaire Way? Zamir White. Sorry.
But did he start?
He got hurt.
No, he started.
I guess he was the starter, yeah. And they had
there was nothing at wide receiver or running back for them. Nothing.
No, they traded him. That's right.
Amir Abdallah behind him. Wasn't that?
Yeah, but he didn't
Abdullah?
get the
Abdullah.
But a new guy, McCullough or something. I don't even know who he is. You might know Max with your college stuff.
He cranked out with 40 yards and
he had a great
out.
game. Yeah. But who are they starting? They got Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers would be the best receiver on our team today, starting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a yes.
That's a yes, dude.
Valdez-Scantling is showing out, man.
No.
I don't want to discredit MVS. He's looking like a solid.
Jacoby ain't great, dude.
He ain't great. MVS was on waivers in week 9.
MVS has played well based on.
No, he's played well since he got here.
He has played well for us. Like a
Based
solid,
on the 4-week sample size for MVS, I would take that 4 weeks over
He's
anything
played great.
Jacoby's done
He
this
has
year.
9 catches, I think.
I hear you,
got
but
4
he's
touchdowns.
producing on the 9 catches, and he's only been here for 4 weeks.
Well, when we first got here, we thought, okay,
Jacoby Myers this season, 66, 743, 2 touchdowns.
yeah, that's a solid.
That's a
Solid.
That's a solid number 2 receiver type of stat line. He's going to end up with over 900 yards.
Yeah.
That's a number. They don't have a 1. We know that. They traded him.
Right.
But I'll give you that. That's 1. And maybe the Patriots. Can you come up with
Patriots.
another one?
Panthers.
No, God, no.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Chubb-
They got good young
Chubb,
tight end,
Thielen,
good young wide receiver,
Sanders,
running
Leggett.
back. Yeah, no.
That's better than what we
That's
have.
way better. Yeah.
Leggett. Wasn't thinking about Leggett.
Offhand, I can't think of anybody.
So you're talking, let's just conservatively say bottom 5 starting skill players for our team right now, today. Not when everybody's healthy, but right now.
It's bottom 3.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like you said, conservatively. I mean,
And-
But time out though. We said this on the preview episode.
Yeah.
We talked about this. We
And
said
that was with Shaheed
And that was
and
with Shaheed and
Olave.
Olave. We said
and
literally.
Taysom.
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
like, this team is an injury or 2 away from fielding the worst skill position talent in the league.
So I don't think we're going to see any outstanding offensive performance with Carr, with Rattler, with Hainer, with anyone, because we are literally incapable of doing that right now.
Yeah.
And somehow, since this has been the situation, when Carr come back, we've been 3-2, and we lost 2 one-score games.
right.
Not against great teams, let's be honest. This is not something to hang our hat on, but we've held it together.
Yeah.
And I think our big episode this week, we're going to get into where we go if this Carr injury that happened on the scramble ends up being, what should be the approach with that injury for the last 4 weeks of the season, knowing
Right.
we're effectively eliminated because of the tiebreakers with the Bucks and the Falcons. No matter which one of them decides to do anything, right now it looks like the Bucks, who played horrible yesterday and got a
The
win.
Falcons are done.
The Falcons,
They're done.
Cousins is done.
He's
for
done.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you come back.
This
from,
is the Bucks division
from what
right
they're
now.
looking like.
They should run away with it. This
Yeah,
point.
and the Panthers had the ball to win, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's how bad our division is.
Yeah.
It's still so bad. But so these next 4 games dictate a lot of things, and we'll get into it heavily next time. But we've got 4 games right now. I think Max said we're the 12th pick. We could be looking at a top 10 pick. If we lose out, we'd be looking at something around 15 if we win a couple. Carr's hurt. We're out the playoffs.
We're actually at 11 right now.
So we're at 11.
Pending tonight's game, Dallas is at 12, and they were playing tonight.
Well, Cincy's ahead of us right now, too, so they could move behind us, right?
They could, yeah.
So,
We could get up to 10, I think.
okay. So
I want a top 10 pick.
that's what we're going to talk about. We'll talk about that on the big episode, but let's get into the picks real quick. We all had the Saints. Max had a 7-point win. I had a 6-point win. Corey had a 10-point win. We're all a little off there, but we all got the game right. I think we kind of discussed before the episode that there's not really an MVP on offense.
No one really stood out. I mean, we talked about maybe giving it to Kendre, but his stat line, I think you got to get more than 32 yards on the ground.
Yeah,
to
getting
be
a
MVP.
touchdown should not be.
Look, he played his dick off. Like
Yeah.
he ran hard. He showed the effort. He looked like he was hungry. Like I said in the preview, he was going to bark a little bit. He barked.
I almost wonder if we should just move to just a singular MVP of the game.
Well,
because like I was getting ready to say, Brazil, he's the
Brazil's
MVP of the
the
game.
option. He's the MVP of the game.
Defensively, he was good, but he made the play of the game too, so he's definitely the MVP of the game.
I think we're good with just not handing out one if there isn't
Yeah,
one.
well, we didn't have
Well,
Brazil.
no, I think we just
so-
pick a singular MVP, and if there's not one, there's not one. But it's easier to pick a singular one than forcing an offense.
We already
There's
have a
no-
hard time getting points on this chart. You're finding a
Yeah.
way to get for us to get less.
There's no harm in doing both. We're missing them all anyway.
If there isn't one in one category, there isn't one.
I think Carr played okay. Not an MVP performance. I
Yeah.
think the offense was just kind of ho hum and kind of just holding the ball again. And they
which
did that.
appeared to be the game plan again.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's hard to argue that it should be anything else.
Look, this was 2 shitty teams. It was a 2-win team versus a 4-win team. We just happened to be a little bit not as shitty as
Yeah.
they were. It's
It was
a bad game.
It was bad football versus bad football written all over it, and which again, like I hate it for
Nick
so
hates
many
high school football. This was like watching high school football.
like I hate calling it that because of so many of the dudes in that locker room, which like we're all huge fans of. Between AK and DeMario, and there's and Cam, guys that have just truly earned their keep for this team and sacrificed for this team. To sit there and say that they're contributing to just bad football, but they're in reality, there's nothing else to call it.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
All right, so what's the updated tally?
So we each got a point. So that puts me at 12, Max at 10, and Corey at 7. Going into next week against Washington.
Look out,
So
Max.
Corey, you got 4 weeks to get to double digits. Can you do it?
Of course.
All right, let's see.
He's on a roll, man. He's gotten a point in 4 straight weeks.
Better keep adjusting those rearview mirrors, Max.
I think. No, never mind. 3 straight weeks.
There we go.
Put your blinkers on as I'm coming by. I don't want to run into you.
Yeah. I'll take my chances. All
All right.
right, cool. Anybody have any other thoughts?
Not on this one. I mean, it was what it was. Congrats to Darren Brizzy for getting the win in front of your home crowd.
AK passed his career rushing yards in the game. So his career high at 29 years old is kind of a feat. So congrats to him.
For young Dylan for getting those autographs. That was pretty awesome.
Corey for getting his lock.
Corey
Well
for
done.
getting his lock. That was great. Kendrick Miller came out and barked.
There we go.
And yeah. Maybe we'll get a lock streak going. We'll see.
I'm not counting on it, but we'll see what happens.
A lot of things to choose from in the Commanders game.
There you go.
A lot of options.
All right, and with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode. We'll see you on the next one. Who dat?
Who dat?
What a comeback!